serving is the next skill that we're going to go over. Again, how I usually structure my practices is we pass, then we serve. Probably two of the most important skills that you're going to do, especially with the younger kids. If they can serve and they can pass, they're going to win. They're going to win a lot if they can serve and pass. Even at the older age divisions. At that point, it's if you can't do this, you will lose. It's not going to guarantee you're going to win, but if you can't do it, you will lose. So you have to be able to serve and pass. So serving is next. We always start with the most important parts of each skill. So with passing, again, it's your platform, you're holding it together. With serving, it's your relationship with the ball. And the kids are confused by that because they think the ball is their friend and they want to have a relationship with it. That's not true. And what we want to do is we want to have a relationship with it, kind of where is the ball in space in relation to our body when we contact it. And where should it be? It should be directly above your attacking shoulder as high as you can reach. This is ideally where we contact the ball. Serving is a very easy skill because, again, if we understand the relationship part, if the ball's in front of me, it goes down. If the ball's behind me, it goes up. If the ball's to the right, it goes to the right. If it's to the left, it goes to the left. Okay, so being that your relationship is the most important part, that makes this motion very important. So it's lifting the ball into the correct spot. We don't want to toss it. Tossing implies the ball going very high. Lifting implies kind of just lifting it up and maybe putting it in the right spot. So the stuff we want to teach the kids to do things in sequence when they're serving. The actual motion to serve is the same as throwing. So if your kids can't throw, we need to spend some time throwing first. Got it. Your team is like that? Yeah, we need to spend some time throwing where we step with our opposite foot and we throw all the way through the ball. Maybe we need to do that first before we start serving. But if they can throw, hopefully by now and following they can throw a little bit, then we can kind of go right to the sequence that they're going to use. So what we do is we talk to them about having the ball out in front of their body. I would call this out. And now it's very important that it's in the right spot though. It has to be directly in front of their shoulder because that's the most efficient way to do it. If I have the ball in the center of my body, now I have to toss it to the side, which leads to more error. So get the ball directly in front of your attacking shoulder. Hold it out there and pause for a second. The kids are going to want to do this. They're going to want to bounce the ball, hold the ball out, toss it. Ugh. Ugh. Hold the ball out. And then this is a really important part. We need to get our arm into a position that's back. And I don't really mind how they get it back. They can do this to get it back and have their hand pointed down. That's fine. They can have it out a little bit like this too. That's fine. But they can even do this. As long as their arm is all the way back. Okay, so we want to go out, back, and then we lift it in position and we hit it. Okay? Let's do this. Let's pause the camera for a split second and we'll move the chairs.
Pause it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm going to move the chairs because the bodies.
Yeah,
Got that?
it's still recording. I
Better
never
over
paused
there?
it.
Okay. And you might have to move back eventually too.
It might be better over here because there's no organized.
Got it, Tina? Good? Kylie, did you restart the camera? You never stopped. Okay, great. So, that's fine. So what I want you guys to do is you're going to teach them the sequence. So you hold the ball out in front of your shoulder. You draw your arm all the way back. And the reason for this is because it's more efficient. I can now lower my toss because my arm is back already. If my arm is out front like this, in order to serve the ball, my arm does have to go back, and that takes time. So it makes sense that I would need to toss it higher because my arm isn't back yet. So we get our arm all the way back, and then we lift, and we hit the ball. If by some chance they are in needing of a little more power, they can step with their opposite foot, but they're only allowed to step with one foot. This is not I'm going to walk into it and toss the ball up while I'm moving, and hopefully it winds up in the right spot. It is hold the ball out, arm goes back, we lift, we have to take a little step, we take a little step, and we swing. Okay, so the sequence, out, back, up, through. And the thing that I've been talking to the kids a lot about, especially this past fall and during camp this past summer, is lift it, hit it. And I say them quickly together, lift it, hit it. Because that's how we want it to happen. We want it to be back on. Lift it, hit it right away. When I'm serving, I will demonstrate for that. It looks something like this. Out, back, up, through. Perfect. Okay, so the ball, I lift in position, I hit it right away. It's not the toss it up in the air, wait for it. Hopefully I toss it in the right spot, then hit it, because multiple things could go wrong. I could toss it to a poor spot, and I could swing at the wrong time. Kids all have problems with timing when they're attacking. Well, if you toss the ball when you're serving, you have now introduced timing. Well, am I going to swing at the right time? When that happens, you see a lot of kids doing this to the ball, where they hit like a paintbrush, versus out, back, lift it, just hit it right away. Hit it immediately. Now the tiniest of tiniest, the fourth graders, will take you literally, where they hold it out, they go back, and they lift it, and it never comes out of their hand, and they attempt to hit it. It doesn't work. It does need to come out of your hand just a little bit. Maybe a foot at the most. So out, back, up, through. Every single time. When we contact the ball with a firm, open hand. We want to have the most surface area possible when we contact the ball. Firm and open. I always give the kids the demonstration of firm versus floppy. If your hand is floppy, the ball doesn't go anywhere. The demonstration I give is I grab my jacket or whatever, and I pull out a brave volunteer and I whack him with my jacket, and it doesn't hurt. And then I go grab a hockey stick, and I hold it for a second, and they're like, oh, it's gonna hurt. Well, why? Well, the hockey stick is firm, my coat's floppy. The power from my arm does not get transferred when it's floppy. It gets transferred when it's firm. So our wrist and our hand have to be firm to put all the power that we're generating with our arm into the ball to make it go over the net. So your hand has to be firm. The part of the ball that you hit is the middle. Now kids don't quite understand middle sometimes, so we use the globe. They understand the globe. What country would you hit? They think of lots of creative answers, like Australia, which is on the wrong side of the ball, so we serve it backwards. But the right spot is middle, like the equator, and the middle in our hemisphere, which is right around Costa Rica-ish, Panama, somewhere. So middle, every single time. Then that ball is going to go straight forward. If we hit to the right side of the ball goes to the left, right. Top, the ball goes down, bottom, ball goes up, and that's backspin. Now a lot of coaches teach out, back, up, freeze. And I'm not sure why they teach it, because it doesn't make the ball float. I think that's what a lot of coaches want to be teaching at that point, is the ball will float if you stop your hand. No, the ball floats because you hit the middle of the ball. That's the reason it floats. You can swing all the way through. As long as your contact point is right in the middle, the ball won't have spin. It will float.
That's back in the day, that's how they used to teach it.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So you can contact the ball right in the middle and just go all the way through, and you can still hit a really good floater. When I was learning, I was not very good at hitting a floater. I hit a lot of topspin balls. So my serve was topspin, I attacked topspin, and I learned how to serve a floater underhand. I'd hit the center of the ball, and I'd swing through the ball, and it would float. But it taught me how to hit the middle of the ball every time. I wouldn't recommend doing it to the kids, but that's kind of how I figured out that, hey, I can go through, and it's still gonna float. It's not I have to stop every time. Okay, you're right, and I'm sure that that's what they taught, but it's really about where you contact that ball. Contact the middle, it's going to float. Top, it's going to top spin, bottom, etc. So you want to hit the middle if you want a floater. Now the sequence, again, for being on the ground is out, back, up, through. What if you have a jump server? Jump servers are awesome. We teach the Munchkins how to jump serve. Jaden, Kayla, you have another one? Savannah. So on Coach Pam's team, she has 5th and 6th graders, and they jump serve, and it's not a big deal. Because if they can approach and attack, which we know all the kids can do, they can jump serve. They're just in control of it. And the way that we teach it is exactly the same way we teach attacking. We teach right, left, jump, hit. That's it. So when you're teaching jump serving to the little munchkins, you have them hold the ball out in front of them like this, with 2 hands, and put all of your weight on your left foot. We toss the ball. Now this time we actually do toss it because it needs to go pretty high because we're going to jump. So we hold it out, we toss, right, left, and what position are we already in? We're in attacking position where we can go up and hit. There are other programs that teach a one-hand toss. It's okay. I just don't think it's as efficient. Okay, I like to, because this, when I'm running around like this has a tendency to kind of go from side to side. What I see a lot of is kids will start moving, and the ball's all of a sudden over here. Now it's over the wrong shoulder. Now I have to start tossing it to the side more often. So if you do have a server on your team that has already learned it that way, and they're pretty good at it, what I would do is I would say, make sure that you keep the ball in front of your right shoulder. Okay? They can. Yep. This is how I teach a topspin ball, not a floater. Okay? This means I'm going to need to do this, and then this to hit. Need more time to do that? Okay, topspin ball, I'm going to do that as another reason, but I would encourage them to switch hands. Okay? If they do toss with 1, make sure the ball stays to the right. If they toss with 2, kind of keep the ball to the right, but this is going to be more consistent than this thing. Those kids that also toss with 1 hand are usually moving while they're tossing. Again, not as efficient. It's not that you can't do it. It's not that there's a right and a wrong here. It's just not as efficient as toss it, right, left, jump and hit it. And the way I explain it to the kids in particular is that if you're moving while you're tossing, well, that's inconsistent to begin with. But also, they get to start understanding the concept of momentum. My momentum is moving me forward. It is now more difficult if by some chance I toss it poorly to move to my left. Because I'm moving forward. I'm moving straight forward. Uh-oh, I toss it over here, but I'm moving forward. Versus, I'm not moving. The ball's out in front of me, I toss it, and I go hit it. Okay, so that's why I like the way that we teach it with our weights on our left, 2 hands, toss, right, left, jump, hit. Kylie, do you want to demonstrate? That's okay. You'll be a rock star at it. There we go. Yep. So start right here. Start right here. So Kylie's going to hold the ball out in front of her. Just slide that way just a little bit. A little more. Right there, that's good. Okay, so hold the ball out. 2 hands. Perfect. All your weight's on your left foot to start. Yeah, there we go. Good. Toss. Right, left. Okay. That's it. That's it. And they aren't going to max jump when they're jump serving. They're just going to elevate a little bit so that they can add pace to the ball and it still be in. Okay, it's not a max jump kind of deal. I know a lot of jump servers that serve topspin, they work hard to max jump, I get that. But with a jump float, you just want to get up off the ground and change that angle a little bit so you can hit just a little bit harder. Okay, those munchkins are really good at it, like really good at it. Okay, because the littler munchkin like Kylie, Kylie needs to jump serve so she can serve it as hard as someone who is 6 feet tall. That's physics. Okay, this is the angle that I'm hitting the ball at. I can hit it this hard and it's still in. Well, Kylie needs to elevate herself to a 6 foot tall person's height so that she can hit it at the same pace that they do. So jump serving is elevate yourself a little bit so you can hit it harder and it still goes in. Otherwise, with the munchkins, it's very noticeable. They have to hit it up. And if they hit it up and they blast it, it's going out. Questions about jump serving and how we teach it. Questions about the sequence in regular serving. If by some chance you have an athlete that wants to learn how to topspin serve, I don't necessarily encourage them to do it. I don't. Because a topspin ball is very easy to predict where it's going. A floater you cannot predict. In my opinion, floaters are infinitely more difficult to pass than topspin balls, because a topspin ball, because of the spin, physics says that a ball that's spinning is going to stay in the same arc the whole time. Okay, so ball's spinning, great, I just gotta figure out where it is, I stand right there, ball goes to target. Now, if they're like, what's the girl from Penn State? Micah. If they have a serve like Micah and they can blast it to a specific spot every time, that's different. That's not just jumping and hitting a good topspin ball. That's not it at all. If they can control exactly where it's going and they can hit it hard, that's a great topspin jump serve. Okay, but to get to that level, first of all, they have to be really, really good attackers. So let's work on attacking first. If you have an attacker that's phenomenal, maybe have them attempt to jump serve a couple times with topspin. See what happens. But if they're not a phenomenal attacker and they can't control where that ball's going every single time when they're attacking, there's no way they're going to be able to do it from behind the line. Because as we all know, with distance pronounces errors. So if they can't control the ball from 30 feet, they will not be able to control the ball from 50 feet. Because my error, here's the example that I give to the kids all the time. Okay, so right now, I made an error. That's my toss. Okay? It is approximately 3 inches away from my shoulder. Okay, if I go and line myself up, Kylie, why don't you line up real quick? Scoot across, figure out where my shoulder and the line of the ball would put you as a passer. Yeah, right about there. Now, if we extend this out another 50 feet, or not 50 feet, if we go 50 feet total, she's gonna wind up, if you look, so here's the middle, she's gonna wind up like 10 feet that way. Does that make sense? So with distance, it pronounces that error. So if you have an attacker that can attack the ball consistently to the same spot every time, great, maybe let them have a shot at it. But if they can't do that, they're gonna spray it all over the place when they're jump serving. Okay? If you do happen to teach the technique of jump serving, great. Same thing as an approach, so it's going to be for right-handed people. Let's probably teach them 3 steps. So it'll be left, right, left. Left-handed people, right, left, right. And the way I have them toss is I have them hold the ball with their attacking shoulder. Their arm goes all the way back and all the way through. All the way back and all the way through. We don't want to do this. This makes the ball go.
So you do have them throw it with their attacking arm.
Have them throw with their attacking arm because I want the ball to stay on the side of their body the whole time.
Got it.
It's like bowling.
And we're talking only with topspin serve.
Yep, only topspin servers do this because they're going to need time. So they're probably going to start like this with their right foot forward. Ball's going to be out here. They go back. They toss. It's right, left, right, or sorry, right, left, and attack. Right. Let's try that again. So it's one ball out, all the way to the right.
Do they shift their weight when they toss it?
Toss, left, right, left, jump and attack. That's for a topspin serve. Difficult to do for the kids. Very difficult. Questions about topspin serve? I'm not going to demo it. I'll demo it once. Something like this. Here, all of that. Something like that. Okay, but this is again where they toss it and then they go get it. I don't teach them to move while they're tossing, while they're jump serving with a topspin serve or with a down serve or with a float serve. Toss it, go get it. Questions about topspin serving? Part of the ball, of course, the top of the ball when you're serving a topspin ball, not the ball. The drills that we're going to use for this, again, it's a progression. I start them on the 10-foot line, both 10-foot lines. Well, one 10-foot line and one person kind of in serve receive, so probably on the 20-foot line. And I learn to serve the ball directly to my partner from 30 feet away. So it's 10-foot line and 20-foot line. And then that person, of course, catches the ball in passing position, and then they go up to the 10-foot line and then they serve, and the other person catches them. Can you demonstrate it real quick? demonstrators. Got them all? Go ahead. Kylie, why don't you go on the other side? Got this? All right, here we go. Out back, on through. Good. Yeah, she calls it, catches it, basket position, or he's going to come to the 10-foot line, and then goes back, out, back. Whoa! See, what I would do with Corey is I would make her get her arm back first. So give Corey the ball back. All right, Corey, out. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that again. This time it's lifted above your shoulder. Out, back, up, through. There we go. Perfect. And we can always tell what we did right or what we did wrong when we're serving. That ball went a little bit to the right, so when she contacted it, it must have been a little bit to the right. We want it directly above your shoulder. That's great. We understand it though. So we serve from the 10-foot line to the 20. She serves back, 10 to 20, and then we go 20 to 20. Or maybe 15 for some of the younger kids. We almost always do 10, 15, 20, 25, then the end line. We don't want to put them right behind the end line right away. Because what they're going to do is they're going to do whatever in their little mind they think they need to do to make it go over the net. And they're really good at that. Like, they're wonderful at that. Because you can put them on the net, you can toss the ball, say jump and hit it. Don't make it go over. It's not going to look very good. Don't make it go over. Okay, so if we do it this way, we can train what they're doing and then simply back them up. Even when I'm having my team serve before matches, very rarely do I say start from behind the line. I'll say, hey, serve 1 or 2 from the 20-foot line, then go back behind the line. So they focus on the technical aspect that they have to do, and then they simply move back. Okay, so in this drill, out, back, up, through, where the person is moving and catching the ball. It's pretty much the only serving drill that we do. You can do serving games. I'm sure we've all seen serving games where we have Coach Corey sitting on her butt in zone 1. Okay, she's not allowed to get off her butt, and somebody has to serve the ball, and she has to catch it. When she catches it, she goes and serves, and the person who served it goes and sits in the next zone. So they sit in zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, zone 6. So we're practicing serving zones. But theoretically, if you're doing this other drill correctly, you're practicing serving zones every time, because you're serving it right to your partner. And what we do is, again, we have some type of goal. You must serve 5 directly to your partner in order to move back. That means that they're here like this, they're ready, and they catch the ball. This is not right to your partner. Your partner made a really good move, got to it. That's not right to them. That's to go right to them in order to move back. Questions about that and how we set that drill up? Another around the world drill. You can also do that fun drill that kids love this drill, especially little ones, called dead fish. I call it dead octopi because I make them lie on the ground like this instead of like this. So you serve a ball, wherever it lands, if it's in, you have to go lie down. Okay, and the goal is to not be serving anymore. The goal is to be lying down. But if you get hit while you're lying down, you have to go serve. And they figure out the game pretty quickly that it's actually kind of fun to try to serve the ball at your friends and hit them with the ball. And then they're practicing serving zones. What you can do as a coach in that drill in particular is you can say, we're playing dead fish, but we're only playing dead fish on this side of the court. So now we're serving it to 1/2 of the court only, because a lot of times, I mean, even when I was coaching you guys, it was, hey, serve it to this half. Because these 2 passes, keep it away from her. And we just don't want to serve her. That's their libero. Let's serve this half of the court. So again, this half is great. Either one. Versus hitting a specific spot. So we can practice that. In dead fish, you can say, hey, you have to serve it deep. You have to serve it behind the 15-foot line. Or a 20-foot line, or whatever your kids are capable of. Or we're practicing serving short today, Kylie. Ball has to be inside the 10-foot line playing dead fish. Questions about those 2 little drills for serving? The sequence, out, back, up, through. There's a sequence when you jump serve, it's hold the ball out, toss, right, left, jump, hit. That's the sequence. Make sure they do it. It's not bounce, 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 toss, go, run, hit. It's out, toss, right, left, jump, hit. Questions about serving? Excellent. good? Can we move right into setting? Let's go right into setting. Setting. The first thing we'll talk about again, most important part of setting. It's holding, just like passing. So we're going to set and we're going to hold our hands up when we're done. What this does, this gives the ball tempo. It keeps the ball up in the air. If you see kids do this and their hands drop really fast, the ball simply drops really fast with their hands. The example, this. Okay, so the first one looks like this, where I extend and drop. Second one is going to be extend and hold. Yes, the first one had more spin. The second one, though, wasn't higher. It just stayed in the air longer. It kind of floats. We call that having tempo. We want the ball to have tempo when we set it. It has to look like it's floating through the air, not careening and crashing. We want that ball to hang up there for our hitters versus going through their zone really, really fast. So we want the ball to have tempo. Now, when I'm talking to setters, now when I'm talking to passers, I'm talking to anybody about setting, I'm going to say, hold your hands up. That's where tempo comes from. But technically, it's not. Where it really comes from is one movement to the ball. So if I'm setting, you'll see this a lot. This is two movements. I am going up, and my hands are going up and forward. It has to be one movement in order to have tempo. That's why when you see setters, and they do this thing, the ball never really looks very good. It kind of drops really fast. They need one movement. So if their arms are going up and forward, their body must be going up and forward too. Okay, so if I'm going to do the footwork, it's left, right, set, so it's left, right. Now whatever angle I extend my hands at, my body has to extend at that angle too. And that's going to create tempo for your setters. Everybody else, hold your hands up. Hold your hands up, hold your hands up, hold your hands up. But for the setters, it has to be one plane of motion. The way I talk to the setters about this is stay on the angle. Whatever angle that you release the ball at, you must stay there. This does not count. You do not want to drop the angle. You do not want to create two angles. You want one angle the entire time. Now again, just like with passing, we want to be as efficient as possible, but it's a strength issue here. The kids are going to need to use their legs. So younger setters will learn to do that movement where they extend up and through the ball with their legs. For the older kids, like the 17s and 18s, we will start teaching this. It's one move. We're going to take the legs out of it. We don't need them anymore. We're strong enough. We can make the ball go all the way outside from our hairline like this. We can do that. The best setters in the country can do it from here. And that's also what you'll see. It's easier to connect with your middle when your hands are high, right? Ball travels less distance. Middle sees it longer. Okay, ball's in their hands, ball comes out. Easier to connect with your middle when your hands are high. But if you can't set it all the way outside from here, you're in trouble. Because then once your hands come in as a blocker, I know where it's going every time. If I see your hands up, you're setting the middle. If I see your hands down, you're setting it outside. So we want it to be consistent. Okay, so for most of our kids, we're going to have them on their hairline, right here, when they contact the ball. That's their relationship with the ball. The ball is always on your hairline. I play a fun game with them. It's called head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So I make them do this. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And I make them do that movement. And then I make them do hairline, forehead, nose, and chin. Because these are all the other places that they like to set the ball from. You'll see a ton of kids set the ball from down here because they must not know where their hairline is. So we play a fun game with them. And we make them get their hands all the way up on their hairline. Okay, now the reason we're up on our hairline is so we can extend in any direction. I can go out, I can go up, and I can go back from there. If it's on my chin, I can't go back. Well, I could, but I have to do that by doing this and leaning all the way back. But here it's only going to go out. Okay, but if it's up on my hairline, I can go any direction with it. So that's your relationship and where you want to intercept the ball every time. Now the question is, how do you get there? And ideally, you go left, right, set every time. Our right foot is always forward when we set. For the exact same reason, our right foot is always forward when we pass. We're gonna set the ball outside, most likely. Okay, so I go left, right, and if I make a mistake, it's gonna go off the net down to our side. If my left foot is forward, it's gonna go over the net onto their side, or be tight and trap my hitter. Okay, so my right foot is always forward when I set. The footwork, ideally, left, right, set, because we want to be going forward when we're setting, versus right, left, set. Now I'm going backward, and I probably want the ball to go forward. So it's always left, right, set. Legs are bent comfortably, and I'm leaning forward to start. It should be something like this for good setting posture. Our hands. What do our hands look like? They're in a triangle, but it is a fat triangle. It is not an equilateral triangle like this. This is too much tension in your hands. You want your hands to be more relaxed when you're setting, so the ball can actually come into your hands. We don't set like this. Okay? Gym teachers say, set with your fingertips. This is, yeah, exactly. This is fingertips. We don't set with our fingertips. We set with our entire hand minus our palm. The ball comes all the way into our hands, and our hands are shaped like the ball. Okay, so triangle, ball comes all the way in like this. Then, once the ball's in our hands, we simply extend our arms, but we move nothing else.
No flip.
So it's this. And your hands are still in that triangle. Okay, there is a tiny bit of movement with your wrist, but it's not a lot. Okay, it'll be this. But we won't teach the kids that because that'll lead to this.
Right. What about the older girls, like the 17s and 18s, do it all the way outside? No?
No.
They're not using their legs and not flipping?
Nope. It'll come in, and what'll happen is that. So the ball will bend your wrist back, and your wrists are like rubber bands. Okay, and they want to go back to normal. So that's the flip that you're talking about.
Okay.
If they do a pushing movement with it, that's what'll happen. Okay, so what we want to do is it comes in, and then we just relax. It comes in, we relax. In, we relax. Okay, so it kind of a flipping motion, but if you say flip to them, my guess is they're going to start doing this thing, where it goes out. I don't want it to go out, I want it to go forward.
And you want your palms to face
forward. Yep. Yep. Thumbs pointed towards each other when you're done, like this. So ball comes in, extend, thumbs are still pointed towards each other. I don't want to go any further than that because that's going to lead to spin. Okay, if I do anything like this, if this one goes before this one, it's going to spin. Probably going to go the wrong direction too. Versus ball comes in and then I just relax. Ball comes in, relax, keep them pointed towards each other. Another move that I will see every now and then is I'll see hands that go like this. Again, same thing. It's extra movement, okay, where the ball could spin if this one goes before this one. So what I teach is this is a sliding joint, but I want to use it as a hinge joint. So technically it does this motion like this, it slides, but I want to use it like a hinge. Okay, so if I do this, and I simply kick my elbow out, and put my hand up and freeze, what shape am I in? Exactly. I'm in that triangle, in that fat triangle, and my hands work like hinges, not anything sliding. The sliding motion gets you in trouble and can create spin. Questions about that? Good questions.
I do have a question. It's not off topic, but I'm not sure you want to cover it here.
Go for it.
What if you have a setter that's one arm is predominantly stronger than the other? How would you correct that?
Great question. We have an answer, and it's coming up in about 30 seconds.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
the setting motion, it's going to be, my hands kind of start down. I run to the ball, of course, but then when I do my left-right, my hands go up onto my hairline. In the shape of a triangle, ball comes in, I extend my arms, and I hold my hands up. This is what you should look like when you're done. Just like this. shape of the triangle, and we always, when we're setting, this is different from passing, we always face our target when we're setting. There is this thing that you're going to teach your setters, how to track the ball in. Okay, so what's going to happen is the ball's coming from over there, I'm going to set it that way. I'm not going to do this and have it come over into my hands like this. I'm going to learn to teach my setter to face my friends. Okay, my hands go up. My hands are going to stay here for a second. Look at my lower body. My lower body's square. The ball comes into my hands and then I set. Okay, this tracking move is very advanced and we teach it to like our 17s and 18s. The little kids won't get it. Okay, what they'll want to do is they'll want to do this and then catch it and then turn and throw it. Okay, it's a lot more subtle than that. And a lot of the younger kids, they kind of do it instinctively anyways.
Are they square as they release them?
Yes, they're square as they release. Okay, and you'll see this at the, I mean, you would need to do it in slow motion to see it at the elite level. But you'll see some of the setters, like when you watch Wisconsin warm up, because Wisconsin has like the best setter in the country. Watch how she warms up. She starts like this. Her lower body's pretty square. She takes the ball here, ball comes in, it's not in her hands yet, 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 ball's in her hands, she sends it out. It's a very, very small movement, but she does it tremendously well. Really well. Probably a slow motion kind of game. Yeah, she is, I would say she's the best setter in the country. Like by far.
Her back sets against
Yeah, it's
flow
perfect.
all the way
Yep,
across.
perfect. Yep, I agree. So, questions about the technical aspect of setting, then we'll get to training it, and we'll talk about right hand dominant, left hand dominant. Questions about technical stuff. Left, right. Balls on your hairline, extend your arms. Oh, one last thing. When their hands go up, they should be pointed toward the ceiling. Because we want the ball to bend their hands back. We don't want their hands to start bent back, because if you do this, think about this. It's pretty rigid already, and if it hits this hand first, now we're going to double contact the ball. Versus, I have some give here. So the ball hits them, and I can kind of bring the ball in. And we'll talk about this. I'll have Kylie demonstrate earlier about how to bring the ball. But any questions right now? So we start with our fingers pointed towards the ceiling, ball brings our hands back, we extend our arms.
Are you moving on to the back set?
Not yet. Oh, yep. We'll get to. You know what? I'll do it now since you asked about it. Back setting. The way we set the ball back with the little kids, set the ball back. Set it back. They will need to arch their back to send it back. Is arching your back ideal when you're setting it back? No, we don't want to do that. We want to look the same every single time we set the ball. Which means I need to learn to set back from this position and stay in this position. And the only way I can do that is by getting my hands to go back behind my head. It's a shoulder strength move. And if the little munchkins aren't strong enough to do it, they're going to do this. And that's okay for them. That's okay. It's like setting with your legs. Yep. You can't do it the other way yet. We'll allow you to do it this way for now. Now, at a higher level, have you ever seen a Wisconsin setter arch her back to set it back? I have. It's when she's in zone 1. She's all the way over there and she wants to send it back. There it goes. And it goes right there. And that execution in the situation she's in, that is more important than staying like this. I need to get it back there. That's where the ball has to be set. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get it to go back there. She's amazing. Okay, but it's not ideal. Ideal, you look the same every single time. You send it all the way out, or you send it all the way back, and you use your shoulders to get the ball to go back. The angle will change with your hands a little bit, but the kids will do that instinctively. You won't need to worry about that at all. The problem you're going to see when they set it back is that the ball's in front of them like this. The only way that I can set the ball back when the ball's in front of me is by getting my thumbs under it. And now, this is not setting position anymore. This is what happens because they're not getting the ball on their hairline. If the ball's on your hairline, pretty easy to set back. The ball's out here like this, it's going to look really funny. One of your setters does this. Blonde one. Kate. She'll take the ball
She's
too
the
far in
old
front of
setter.
her and she'll do this. Send it back. Questions about back setting. So you're going to use your shoulders to get it back. Go ahead. Again, not ideal, but they can certainly do it if they need to. So what she's talking about is getting the ball here and then sliding your hips forward like this, but I consider that a back arch. Yep, I consider that a back arch. But yes, if they need to do that, that's okay. You can teach them that. You know what? To get it back, we're just going to push our hips forward a little more, like this, and the ball will go back. That's fine. Especially with the ages that you're in, skills that you're working with. Okay, but ideal, yes, get in position, and it goes back like that. And again, they have to hold. So hold your hands up when you're setting it back, and the ball will have tempo. If we do this, and our hands come back forward, you'd be surprised the ball goes like that. And it drops really fast. Versus hold it up, ball stays up. And stays in the air for the hitter longer. Questions about the technical aspect of setting before we get into drills, which will answer your other question.
Okay.
Good? Okay. Kelly, can you grab the camera and turn it over, please? So we're going to go to the wall first. Corey, why don't you grab the ball? Let's go to the wall. Here we go. It's going to be a field trip for everybody so they can see it.
Which wall?
Right here. Right here. Is that good? Where do we need to be? Right here? Okay. Corey, come on over. So the first drill that we're going to do, Corey is going to work on the ball coming into her hands. That's it. Because again, we don't want this. We don't want them poking at the ball. We don't want them being aggressive with the ball. We want the ball to come into their hands every single time when they set. So we're going to teach her how to do it. We're going to teach her how to do it with one hand first. Because again, our hands are hinges. Okay, so we're going to put our hand up. She's going to be in setting position, which is close to what she's in right now. Right foot forward, legs are bent. Yeah, that's better. We could lean forward a little. Now, one thing I'm going to check when we're doing this drill, if you see her hand and her thumb is out on the side like it is like this right now, it means she's grabbing the ball and she could palm it like this. This is impossible with your thumb close to your fingers. Okay, so let's put our thumb close to our fingers so we're not allowed to grab it. Because you don't grab it when you're setting. You want your thumb to be close like this. So you're working on the motion of your wrist bending back. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, come on. You know how to do this. Ready, go. Yeah, that's better. Yep, that's better. And what I want to see here is I want to see just her wrist moving. Okay, I don't want an arm extension here right now. We're not giving high five. We're not shooting hoops, anything like that. It is just your wrist that is moving. Okay, because again, we're working on that wrist movement and allowing the ball to come into our hands every time. Okay, so go ahead. She's not bad at it. What I would recommend is I want you to, slide back just a little bit. I want you to push it hard and let it rest. Push it hard, let it rest. Okay, and then what'll happen is it'll force your hand back and it'll teach you to absorb that ball. Kids want to do this. Really nice, really easy, which is fine if you plan on setting, so you're the center, so stand right there, face me. If you plan on setting this ball every time, so put your hands up. If you plan on setting that ball every time, that's great. How about this ball? Why is that one different? Yep, it was much higher, and therefore it's coming down much, much faster. And when kids see the ball coming at them fast, they have a tendency to do this. They tense up. They tense up. Versus, okay, it's coming at me fast, so maybe I just need to move fast. And this teaches them to move fast. I'm going to push it hard, and it's going to bend my wrist back really, really fast. So it's simulating the same speed as a really, really, really high pass. So let's do it again. Push it hard, let it rest. Yeah, that was better. That was better. Push it hard, let it rest. Is she grabbing it again? Yeah, a little bit. Keep your thumb close to your fingers. All right. Now, are you ready? Because here it comes. Switch hands. Non-dominant hand. It's going to be much more difficult. And they need to be just as good with their right hand as they are with their left hand. So they have to be able to execute this drill independently with their hands. If they're really good with their right and are really bad with their left, they will double contact the ball frequently. Okay, and this is how we train that. We say, you know what? You're really good with your left, Leah. You need to get better with your right. So you're gonna do this drill with your right a whole bunch because it's simple. She's used to doing it with this one, just not used to doing it with this one. So she has to be just as good with both. So let's give it a shot. Very different. It's not her dominant hand, she's right-handed. I can tell just by, I don't know which hand you're right with, I guarantee it's your right. All right, here we go. Yep. Common mistakes that you're gonna see in this drill. Okay, thank you. So I might just- Okay, common mistakes that you're gonna see. You're gonna see a lot of this, where they extend their arm. You're gonna see a lot of this. My posture is very interesting right now. It is definitely not athletic. Okay, we wanna be in setting position every time we do this drill. The ball's up on our hairline. You'll also see kids doing it down here like this. That's not very helpful. We don't set from our shoulders. Okay, we set from up on our hairline like this. Push it hard, let it rest. Same thing, other hand. Push it hard, let it rest. Okay, and then finally, same thing, good setting posture. Right foot forward, legs bent, leaning forward. She's gonna do two hands. It's the same drill though. We're pushing it hard. We're only using our hands. This is the move that we were talking about earlier, that flip. Okay, that's what you're working on right now. So the ball comes in, your hands go flat, and then it comes back into your hands right away. Okay, so it's flat, ball comes back. Flat, ball comes back. If they attempt to flip it like this, what'll happen? It's gonna hit it right in the face. Okay, so it'll get rid of this. Ready? Now what I would say, keep going. First of all, keep it nice and high. Good. Now she is doing a better job of letting it come, but she has to correct herself often, which is great. We want them to fix it. If it's wrong, they fix it. Before they set the next one. Okay, so what she does is sometimes she catches it, and she might look like this, which isn't quite right, and then she fixes it, and then she pushes the next ball. That's fine. Okay, keep going. See it? She fixes it. That's great. Ideally, she doesn't have to fix it anymore. She's a little bit rigid. She's kind of grabbing at it like she did before. I would like her to let it come in a little bit more. Let it come into your hands. Let it come in. One more. All the way in. And the way that I do this with kids, since you've been in this, Kylie, come on out for a second. They don't understand the concept of the ball coming into their hands. Put your hands up, set please. What I would do is she's doing this, where you see lots of space. You guys see the space between Kylie's fingers and the ball. What I do is we'll put both hands on it though. Do it wrong. Like this. Okay, I would go like that. And I would grab their wrist and I'd force the ball into their head like this. Okay, and then it's all the way in. And this is how we want it to feel every time the ball is all the way into your hands. You can look, you can see her palms. Good. This is perfect. We don't want any space when we're setting. We don't want this. This is better. Now we're setting with our finger pads, not our entire hand minus our palm. Questions about that drill? Amazing drill. 100, 100, 300. And it takes no time. No time. And they just had 500 contacts on the ball. Okay. Next setting drill. So that's good. And we're just working on the ball coming in. So let's turn the camera. So next drill, we're setting another ball's in our hands. Now we need to work on extending our arms and pushing the ball away from us. So it's a very simple drill. We put the ball on our belly. Our hands are in the shape of a triangle on the ball. The ball's all the way in our hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go left, right. And like I said earlier, when you go left, right, the ball goes up onto your hairline. So let's do it again. Left, right, ball goes up. Left, right, ball goes up. Then all I do is simply extend my arms. My hands don't move. Boom. Thank you. Let's do it again. So it's left, right, push. And my hands, my arms are all completely extended, and my hands are still in the shape of a triangle. One more time. We call this the push drill. Ball comes up, I push. And I keep my hands up, and they're still in the triangle. Next drill is called catch push. So I toss to myself, I have to catch it in setting position, and then I push. I extend my arms. After I do those two, all right, Sam, it's your turn. I know. Now there's a reason that I picked Sammy for this one, because I have no idea, come on out, how good of a setter she is. But I can teach her how to set pretty quick. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you on your knees. It's great. You're gonna put your hands up on your hairline like this. Good, the shape of the triangle. Now you're just gonna catch it. As much as you can. Ready, and catch. Uh-oh. I want it to come all the way into your hands here when you catch it. Good again. And catch. That's really good. Perfect. Ready? Catch it. That's excellent. Now, all we're going to extend our arms. So extend. Okay, so that's catch, push. Right? So let's do it again. Catch. All the way and push. Catch. Catch it. Push. Good. That's much better. Good. Tiny fast. Not much. Tiny. So it'll be catch, push. Ready? Catch, push. All right. That was pretty close to a setting motion already. And that's exactly how we teach the younger kids to set. Even the older kids, like Kylie, if she's struggling with this, I'm going to teach her how to catch the ball and then push the ball. And then I'm going to teach her how to do it just a little bit faster. So it's one motion. So it's catch it, push it, catch it, push it. And then it's fast. It's catch, push. And all of a sudden, they're setting. Coach Tina's team did this for an entire practice the other day. And for not being able to set it all at the beginning of practice, they were able to set by the end. And her setters could actually deliver a hittable ball, which is great. All the time, they could. Okay, and we break it down every time. We teach them how to let the ball come in from the wall. Then we teach them how to push. And then we put them together. After we put them together, then we can teach them how to move to the ball. Catch and push. If we try to do it all at once, it will not work. It'll be like Kylie juggling and jumping up on one foot and spinning in circles and singing happy birthday. She never even got to happy birthday. Okay, so we always break it down for them. Catch it, push it, catch it, push it, do it a little faster. Do it a little faster. Now do it fast, but it still has to be catch and push. Again, we don't want to be aggressive with the ball, attack the ball. When it comes to you, extend your arms. Questions about the technical aspect of setting and how we break it down for them. Because then after this, what we do is we go into the other drills that we've already done. We do threes on the net. We do a progression where we have one person that's tossing and the other person is setting. Okay, straight at you. Left, right, set. Straight at you. Left, right, set. To the right. Shuffle to the right, left, right, set. Shuffle to the left, left, right, set. Notice every single time I do it, it's always left, right, set at the end. Left, right, set, left, right, set. Questions about setting? You can do all, like I said, you can do all the same drills. Ready to progression, threes on the net. You can do some type of circle drill. Maybe it's a free ball drill, because maybe we're working at using our hands on free balls instead of that ball that's deep, moving back like this and then shanking it straight up in the air. How about just set it to target? We can work on that. Is there a difference, Kylie, between setting and overhand passing? Yes, there is. Good. You know what it might be? Well, if you're setting, theoretically somebody is passing it to you, right? You're setting. Is the ball coming fast or slow at that point? Probably slow, right? I hope so. Okay, unless you have Shankopotamus hitting it at you. That wouldn't be any fun. But if you're overhand passing, what position could you be in?
Passing position.
You could be in passing position or you're in serve receive too. So you're in serve receive and the ball, when it's served, is coming at you a lot harder than it would if someone's passing it to you and you're setting. That's why we use two different words for it. There's overhand passing and there's setting. Setting is a little different. For overhand passing, remember, relaxed? We're not as relaxed. We're going to tense up a little bit, but we're going to stay in that triangle. And the reason for this is because if the ball's coming at us fast and we're really loose and relaxed, it's going through. When we're overhand passing, we tense up a little bit to make sure the ball doesn't go flying through our hands. That's the only difference. So otherwise it's the same. Ideally, you still want the ball to come in a little bit and extend your arms, same stuff. But you're just a little more tense because the ball has speed coming at you, and if you're really loose, it's going through. You do it instinctively when you're back there. You're pretty tense when you're back there and you're overhand passing. Still on your hairline.
I had a really good question the other
Yep.
day. If a setter is setting, it's a very high ball, like it's a defensive set, right? So
Okay.
she's been passed and it has a tremendous amount of spin.
Yep.
She wanted to know what I suggested her to do. And it's not a perfect pass, it's off the net, probably about 10 to 15. Should she, if
Well-
something is coming at me that volatile, and you know Kate sets very soft.
She does.
I told her I would pass that ball
Yeah.
in a minute.
And that's okay. Depending on her skill level, I might say, like, I know Kate pretty well.
She's too
Pass it.
soft.
Pass it.
It's just gonna come right through.
Pass it.
Okay.
And then that other drill will help her with it.
Okay.
Because the ball spinning and the ball coming from really, really high is that drill where I'm learning to let it come in quickly but still get rid of it.
Okay.
Okay, that's one thing that I know she worked on at camp in particular was get rid of it. Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. You're really good at letting it in, and you hang on to it for 5 minutes and then you send it away. So you gotta get rid of it. Okay, you gotta get rid of it. So when she would be doing this drill, I would teach her to push it hard and it's not gonna rest. It's gonna she's gotta push it hard again. Okay, so she learns that you have to let it come in, but then you have to get rid of it really, really fast. That's a really difficult drill for kids though. Yes.
That struggle with that single movement and single motion.
Uh-huh.
Is that really just belly Is that how you help eliminate that?
Which movement are we working on eliminating? Can you show me?
Like that single move, like pushing instead of pushing forward, pushing like that, or something forward and long.
Yes, I would make them do ball in the belly, and I would make them go left, right, and then go forward when they're done. That's how I would do it. And a lot of kids, it's not just little kids, because you'll get a lot of setters that do the butt out move like this, and that's simply because they're not going forward. Their butt is going back when it should be going, left, right, forward.
A lot of those reps.
Yep. The other thing that I would do, if I had to interject my space on this one, I might use another teammate. Example, Corey, come on out. Kylie, come on out. Because the problem is with their hips. Okay, as a coach, male coach or female coach, you're probably not going to touch your player's hips. But you guys are okay, so come here. Turn around. Okay, Kylie, walk behind her, put your hands up in setting position. I want you to take your arm, and I want you to push her as she's setting. Yep, I got her. Lower. Lower yourself. Like that. Okay, ready? And go. And push her. Like that. So you can literally have them be shoved forward. We have other tools here that we can use. I'd use a hockey stick for this. And okay, I'm gonna use this hockey stick, I'm gonna push you as you're setting. Does that make sense? So that keeps their hips going forward because I'm not going to, as a coach, touch that area. It's not appropriate. Other questions? Out movement. What other common mistakes do we see? What mistakes do you guys deal with in setting? What happens if the ball's off the net and they can't left-right set? What do you do? So they could get there with their hands, but there's no way they're going to have time to get behind it and then go left-right set toward their target. They don't have time. What do you do? Step turn. Okay, so you would do this.
The other foot.
Other foot? So I would do this.
I would step into it.
I wanna, okay, got it. So we're talking about the same thing, I'm gonna use a different word. We call this a kick out. So I'm gonna run toward the ball, and I am going to kick my leg out in that direction, like this. And there's a reason for it. So now I'm square, and I stayed square. Because if I just kick up and I twist, it's like figure skating. So figure skaters, when they spread themselves out, they spin slowly. When they're really, really tight, they spin quickly. So if you have a setter that comes over here and they do this, that's what they'll have a tendency to do. They'll have a tendency to go too far. Versus if I kick out and I do this, in this case, it's up. Okay, so I love the move, and you're actually kind of teaching them how to set off with one leg. So I get to the ball with my right foot, I square up, this leg comes out, and I set the ball. Okay, but ideally, we left, right, center. We have to be squared up. What does squared up mean? Squared up means toes, hips, shoulders, and of course hands. But of those, which matter the most?